Let's head to Ghana, where several hundred opposition protesters have gathered in the capital, Accra, to denounce the lingering economic crisis, blaming it on the governor of the Bank of Ghana's policies. The protesters with placards decrying the government's management of the Ghanaian economy, which is going through its worst economic troubles in years. Dubbed OccupyBoGProtest, the opposition leadership say the Bank of Ghana's governor, Ernest Addison, must resign for overseeing an economy where inflation has hit 40%.
If the whole country needs 1 billion from the IMF every year for 3 years to fix our problem, and Addison in 1 year can superintend the loss of 5 billion, who is our problem?
So this government, they know that they are losing power.
They will not come back.
They have nothing to lose. Hey, if the BOG destroys Ghana, they don't care. If Addison runs Ghana down, they don't care. But we, the people, must care, not join. If the NDC is a government in waiting, the NDC must be interested in every protest that seeks to protect the interests of the ordinary Ghanaian. So the NDC must not only take advantage, the NDC must come and lead the protest. And that is why we, the minority MPs, we are the people here leading the protest.
Well, joining me now to speak more on this is Mawuli Dake. Mawuli is the Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Group Council. Mawuli, thank you very much for your time.
Happy to be with you this evening.
All right. This isn't the first time this year that the people will be heading to the streets in protest. I mean, we recently had Occupy Julobi House. A similar thing happened last month. Help us understand the current state of Ghana's economy.
Well, thank you. And really, the bottom line is things are not well. Things are falling apart, not just economically, but politically and as far as leadership is concerned. It's as though our leaders, our president and his government, is as though they have given up on even trying because we don't see any good signs coming from any angle. There are a number of things wrong with the Ghanaian economy. The fundamental part is that the structure of our economy basically puts us in a very weak position in terms of what we derive as a people from even our natural resources. When it comes to oil, a lot of the beneficiaries are foreign companies with a few political and business allies in the country. So our economy usually doesn't benefit a lot of the people. But we also have, on top of this, some self-inflicted wounds, including rampant looting, mismanagement, and some form of mediocrity, basically in the management of the economy that is making things really, really worse for the ordinary Ghanaian. Cost of inflation, cost of living, and it's just getting out of hand, and people are getting fed up. Usually, Ghanaians are reluctant to get on the streets and to make noise or to even speak out. They'll just pray at home. But I think people are feeling the heat, so people are more eager to get on the streets and express their feelings in recent times.
Mawuli, the gold, oil and cocoa producing nation that Ghana is, has been battling with this economic crisis, arguably the worst in its history, and the protesters have, been blaming the Bank of Ghana for this. Just give us an insight into what the Bank of Ghana is accused as the role it's played in the decline of the Ghanaian economy.
Well, so this protest was organized by the minority, the opposition caucus in parliament, and the opposition party, the National Democratic Party. And so I think our government has a very brilliant strategy or tactics on corruption. It's like you are bombarded with scandals every other day. So it's almost impossible to focus on one and make a big deal out of it. By the time you are dealing with this, another one hits. So there's been a number of scandals in recent times. The OccupyBoGProtest House last week or 2 weeks ago tried to deal with some of them. But this one is focused on the Bank of Ghana. And there are some key things happening from there. They also, one is the inflation is out of control. But also, even in the midst of all this, there has been scandals. For instance, it recently came out that the bank is spending $250 million to build a new headquarters. They have a big, beautiful headquarters, but in the middle of all this crisis, the bank decided to award someone a contract to build a $250 million contract. And they are not headquarters, and they are not willing to be transparent. The process of that whole process was shrouded in secrecy. Obviously, those who exposed it knew that there was a lot of corruption. Parliament tried to intervene and get information. It's not been forthcoming. There was also a report from the bank itself that showed that they lost 60 billion in 1 year, which is unprecedented.
Okay.
And the amount of currency they also claim they printed that they cannot account for. So there are just a series of things
yes.
that should worry everybody.
Mawuli, quite a series of issues here. But the question remains, how can Ghana navigate itself away from these troubling times? Because, I mean, Ghana was seen as a stable, as a shining example of a stable democracy with a working economy in West Africa, at least.
It's unfortunate because we find ourselves in a situation where the one man that everybody thought had a country at heart, President Akufo-Addo, whom everybody thought had a country at heart, and made us to believe that he had a team and the leadership, credential, and commitment to move this country forward, turned out to be the worst leader of our lifetimes. And on top of that, unfortunately, his leadership approach also doesn't allow him to bring the country together to solve some of these problems because of the arrogance and the intolerance. Is either their way or the highway. And we are paying the price for it. And as a result, we are not just seeing the political deterioration, the deterioration in our constitutional governance, but also economically, because we need to work together as a people to move our country forward. And unfortunately, Akufo-Addo, unlike his predecessors who were a bit more tolerant, and in times like this were willing to bring people together, Akufo-Addo is not that kind of leader.
Well, Mawuli, Dake, thank you so much for your time. I can see Ghanaians already on another one called One District, One Dam, play on the bad roads and the potholes filled with water in the country. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.